Hi. This video is about a question about fruit sugar, and does it have the same effect as other sugars? And I answer that in a simple comment in Arabic, and it is very simple. And I said, no, the fructose in the sugar, it will produce fatty liver. But now I will enlarge on fructose, which is the primary sugar in fruits and also in other food, highly processed food, and how it will affect obesity and diabetes type 2. And this is from a book which is called Nature Wants Us to Be Fat. It is a survival mechanism in the past. And it is by Dr. Richard Johnson. Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N. And this is from his book, which has been there for a few years now. The fructose, it activates a metabolic switch to make us fat and to be obese and diabetic type 2. Why? Because it produces uric acid inside the cells, and this will inhibit the mitochondria to produce energy, which is ATP. And as I said, fructose is the primary sugar in fruits, table sugar, which is called sucrose, as well as in fructose corn syrup. And I have seen it in bottles like in honey with the comb. But if you look at the ingredient, it is written fructose corn syrup, which is fake honey. So the body regulates its weight by nature and according to the light and the season of the year. So in the past, our ancestors, they faced starvation in one period in their life, and the weather was very cold. Perhaps it was winter. So the enzyme, which is called uricase, U-R-I-C-A-S-E, always A-S-E means enzyme, to break down uric acid, it has been mutated. The gene which produces this enzyme is mutated and deleted. So we cannot break uric acid, which is produced by fructose. So it was a survival mechanism in the past to make us fat and to store energy, because the food was less in that period of time. But now, in new life, this causes a problem. So the fructose before, which we eat in the fruit, it used to protect us against starvation and death. And it is a survival mechanism. But now it leads to obesity, because we eat about 150 pounds of fructose sugar per year. Before, perhaps we eat 4 pounds per year. And it is found in all soft drinks, syrups, and all processed junk food. And now 1/3 of the adults in the West are obese and diabetic type 2. Why I said in the West? Because they keep data and research. And also it will be also in Middle East and everywhere. The fructose is found in ketchup and in French fries. And the French fries is also fatty and salty. So what it has to do with the fructose? Apparently, the fructose, it could be from the fruits we eat and the food we eat. But also the body can make fructose from the glucose we eat. It changes it into sorbitol and then into fructose. And this will cause diabetes type 2 and obesity. And as I said, high glycemic carb like bread, rice, potatoes, cereals, chips, and soft drink, they are high in glucose, and this will stimulate the metabolic switch to produce fructose. And this is proven in animals because in animals, they find that it stimulates obesity, fatty liver, insulin resistance, diabetes type 2, and they play with the enzymes dealing with the fructose. So, to eat low carbohydrate diet is a very powerful tool to lose weight and to become metabolically healthy. Low carbohydrate diet, low sugar. Also, they found in the animal which hibernate how they could conserve water during that period. They don't drink and they don't eat. And also in the deserts, the camel, how they conserve water and to survive in this harsh environment. So they found in the camel, they have less sweating and less loss of water by breathing because they have this big nostrils, and they have fatty hump on the back. And apparently the fat, when it is burned, it produces water. And this is how the camel have water in the desert, as well as the whales in the sea. They don't drink salty water. They produce their own water from the fat they carry. So, what will activate this metabolic switch to produce fructose? Starvation, like in our ancestor. Dehydration. Why dehydration? Because it will increase the sodium level in the blood, the concentration of the sodium level in the blood, and this will stimulate hormone which is called vasopressin. Vaso mean blood vessel, pressin meaning it make it narrower. And this hormone, it acts on receptors in the kidneys, so it make the urine smaller in amount and more concentrated to conserve water. But apparently also they found these receptors for vasopressin hormone are found also in the lungs and in other tissues. So, high salt intake, it stimulates water intake because we become thirsty, and high salt concentration also stimulate the production of fructose and fat store, and this is proven in animal studies. And they found that most obese people, they are dehydrated. And also they take food which is high in salt. So now again, high glucose diet, high salt diet, which is found in high junk food, which we eat from supermarkets, it makes us obese and diabetic because of fructose production, and vasopressin hormone in the blood will be raised. And also there will be leptin resistance, meaning eating more glucose, eating more salt, drinking less water, make us leptin resistance, as well as if we don't expose ourselves to the light. And leptin is a very essential hormone secreted by fat cells in the body and act on the brain. So it is really complicated. So weight gain could be prevented if we block the fructose metabolic pathway, and this will control our food intake. We will eat less calories, and will protect us from increased body weight and diabetes type 2. Also, high salt intake, it is related to high blood pressure. And so, high blood pressure could be normal if we eat less sugar, less salt, and less fructose. High fructose, it will produce fatty liver. And the liver is very important as metabolic hub and in detoxification. And fatty liver will produce high triglyceride. And the metabolism of a fructose breaking down will be blocked. Now we eat about 10 to 12 grams of salt per day. So cooking at home is very important because we will not put too much salt in the food. It is proven in Japan because they take high salt. They eat more than 100 grams of salt per day, and this will lead to more diabetes. It is not the amount of salt which we eat, it is the concentration of salt in the blood which make the blood sticky and thick. It is more important. So, again, how much salt we eat and how much water we drink, and the balance between the salt and the water intake. And there is experiment in Turkey, they gave salty soup, and they prove this method, that if they give high salt intake with a lot of water in the soup, the vasopressin hormone will be less, because the high salt intake, as we said, it activates the paleo pathway and it produces the kidney to make concentrated urine and less urine. So the other experiment is vasopressin stimulate fructose, and they found yes in the animal experiment. So if we take water, it will make us less fat and protected against diabetes. Can vasopressin stimulate fat? In animal, yes, like animal frogs, because there are receptors for vasopressin hormone in the kidneys, in the lung, and other tissue in the body. So to prevent obesity, we have to drink water, 6 to 8 glasses per day. Especially we have to be careful if we do sauna and sweating or exercises, and if we have heart condition, because if we take too much water, it will cause water intoxication. And we have cases like this, especially after doing surgical operations. So the other thing which stimulates the fructose production and vasopressin is umami food, because there are receptors for glutamate which is found in gravy, beef extract, aged foods, beer, and organ meat, which is rich in purine enucleotide or peptides. This MSG, which is monosodium glutamate, which is found mostly in Chinese food, it increases uric acid in the blood because it inhibits the mitochondria and reduces the energy, so it will lead to obesity and diabetes type 2. So, to summarize, high fructose food, high glucose food, less water we drink, high salt intake, high umami food, beers, fermented, sugar and alcohol, and the beer belly, which is fat in the liver and in the abdominal wall, all lead to high uric acid. And also eating high glycemic food. So to protect ourselves, we have to understand the mechanism. And this is part 1. I think I will go in detail again and again to fix this knowledge in our brain.